when you're booking public events, you worry a little. You worry as to whether anyone's going to show up or not. Because even if we put 100 people in here, it'd feel a little empty. And seeing you all fill up this room today reminds me of a couple of things that are most powerful in my world. The world is this, is that people matter. Some things that are absolutely right-wing and left-wing issues, but there are some things that are right and wrong. And for a company to come and propose shipping raw bitumen 1,100 kilometers over hundreds of rivers and streams that we rely on, to then put it into super tankers bigger than the Empire State Building, try to navigate down the channels of our north coast, making 3 90-degree hairpin turns, and over the 50 years of this pipeline, do that 15,000 times consecutively without ever making a mistake. Without some captain getting drunk, or trying to show off, or some part breaking. And what they say is, we have technology. There's no accounting for human stupidity. There is no technology we've yet invented that will make up for someone doing something stupid. And I'm sure that ship out in Italy there with 4,000 tourists on board was equipped with all the latest technology, had all the best radars and pinging machines and things to protect it from running into an island, and yet it did. The Queen of the North, which sank virtually on the very route that Enbridge is proposing, had lots of technology on board, and yet it managed to hit Gill Island, kill 2 people in the process. But know this, and this is where a mistake has been made. There is a gift in what we're looking at here today. A gift that in the politics where I come from in northern BC, we see too often. And that's when we're presented with a clear and present danger, a clear and present threat to our culture, to our economy, and to our values. Because when we're presented with that threat, it brings together unlikely allies. A tall, tan elder, a friend of mine, we stood on the blockade when we were keeping Shell out of the sacred headwaters because they wanted to frack for gas at the headwaters of the Stikine and Nass rivers. You want to talk about environmental suicide. These guys thought it was a good idea to frack, and they still do, by the way. Frack for gas at the headwaters of those rivers. And he said, well, Nathan, what we've got ourselves here is a cowboys and Indians strategy. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we can bring people into the room that can't even agree on what day of the week it is. Farmers and ranchers, First Nations and environmentalists and their Birkenstocks and business guys and all sorts of people who all of a sudden come together. And they come together around a common value. Protecting our environment, protecting our way of life, and even more importantly, protecting something that's sacred, which is our voice, which is our power in this conversation. And there isn't an oil company, and there isn't a prime minister that can take that voice away from you. And they won't do it this time. So here's the terrifying thing, you know. You're not going to be able to sit on the sidelines on this one, right? Neither are your friends or your families. This isn't one that we get to sit out. You came here today. You are implicated today. You are recruited today because you know something from talking to those good people at the back of the room, listening to Art and Rex. You know something today that you didn't know before. You know that this threat is real. These folks want to do that. You recognize the power behind this threat. These are not casual men, my friends. The first meeting I had with Enbridge was in a hotel not 10 blocks from here, 6 years ago. You know what the first thing they told me was? First thing they wanted me to know, as a member of Parliament, they said, Mr. Cullen, we have $100 million behind us. And I said, that's a lot of money, guys. And they said, yes, it is. We went around and had ourselves a little poker game, and we asked for $10 million from 10 different companies to promote this project. There's never been an industrial project in the history of this continent having that kind of money. And I said, oh, who are they? That wouldn't be right to tell you that, Mr. Cullen. Well, we now know who they are. You know who they are. These are Chinese oil companies, they're American, they're global. And the government of Canada And this oil company has the audacity to say that you are all puppets, that the people that I represent are just puppets of some American interests. That we are somehow the First Nations who are gathered in unity and strength and defiance of this project are somehow children. What kind of colonial attitude is that? How dare they? Here's the thing. What if this afternoon you came to hear about a pipeline, but you actually showed up with something much bigger, something much more powerful? What if we are gathered in a room here today that is the beginning of that new conversation, not just stopping those bad things, those evil, those threatening things, but coming together and deciding for ourselves what kind of future that we want? What if we are in that room here today? And what if Canadians gather together in rooms right across this country in that same unified spirit, with that same power of voice and conviction? There won't be another Enbridge because we'll stop asking these stupid questions, because it's economic and environmental suicide what they're proposing. And we'll start asking the right questions for a better economy, for more respect of the voice of average, everyday, ordinary Canadians. And stop trying to radicalize us. But call me a radical for defending my people. Call me a radical for saying that they should have a voice at this table, and I will wear that label proudly. Thank you very much.